actually. Oh, Brandon.
Running for just 5 seats, it can be a difficult thing for voters to make up their mind when there are lots of choices in front of them. Forums are useful for that because it allows candidates to state more precisely their vision for the future, and it's easier as well for citizens to gain a sense of their personal perspectives on the candidates. This evening's forum is rather strictly regimented because we have 11 candidates. Each candidate will have a 2-minute opening statement. Then there will be 2 general questions asked by our moderator. And then after that, there are 3 or possibly 4 more questions that will be asked that have come from the audience. With 11 candidates, even speaking a minute apiece, obviously time is a factor. However, we plan to stop so that at the end, each candidate can have about 1.5 minutes to sum up their reasons why they hope to be part of the next Ironwood City Commission. So with that, I want to thank everybody involved here tonight, Charter Communications, members of the Ironwood Chamber of Commerce that are sponsoring this, Dr. Razio for willing to be our moderator, Joan from Charter for being our timer, and keeper of the all-important clock. And of course, one thing, since I've been on that side of the table once in my life or twice or more, the candidates themselves. Sometimes it's hard to think of being a candidate for office as something a little bit more than running for dog catcher. But it actually is a very, very, very important thing. And it's well enough to complain, but not many people make the step to actually be a candidate and put your name out there and ask for people's support. And I hope at the end, everybody can give these ladies and gentlemen a big round of applause for their courage and their willingness to help make Ironwood a better community. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. As Michael stated, we have 2 prepared questions, and we will do those first. I will read the question for the candidates. I'll read it twice. Opening statement first. I'm sorry, the opening statement first. All right. And then we'll have the question. So an opening statement will be 2 minutes for each of the candidates. So we'll start, I guess, this table and then virtual.
My name is Annette Burchell. I've worked hard with great people over the last 20 years since happily returning to my hometown of Ironwood to make our community an even better and stronger place to live and work. I chaired the committee that dreamed big 5 years ago to make our area stronger, planning a charter founding board member, having worked very hard to establish the Downtown Art Place, the Sisuski Fest Taste and Tour, Friends of the Miners Memorial Heritage Park, and Friends of the Ironwood Carnegie Library. All new organizations which strengthen our community and bring people to our downtown. I've worked hard raising thousands of dollars for our city and community through fundraising and grant writing. I understand how to manage budgets, having run my own businesses with my husband since 1985. If elected, I look forward to working with great people to make our city even stronger. Thank you.
Okay, our next candidate.
Okay. Hi, my name is Joseph Kerr. Starting in high school my senior year, I took an interest in politics and served as an ex-official member of our city's planning commission. I ran for a seat on the Ironwood City Commission for the first time in November 2003 and was elected and served a 2-year term. After a 6-year break, I ran once again and was elected in November of 2011. In 2013, I was re-elected, and I'm currently your representative for the city. Over the years, I voted on issues trying to keep the taxpayers' fees down. I believe that Ironwood is moving in the right direction. I want to help keep Ironwood moving forward and help our city prosper. I continually spend many hours working with city staff and try to solve our citizens' problems as they arise. I vote on issues at the meetings in the best interest of all the citizens of Ironwood. The city has updated its infrastructure and has to keep updating it as they can financially without raising our citizens' rates. Many roads have been resurfaced and many great projects have been accomplished in the last few years, helping Ironwood prosper.
Just before we go to the next candidate, Michael asked us, the mics are being used for the cable broadcast, but if you could speak up so that all of the people in the audience can hear you, try to speak up loudly. These mics are not, overhead, so try to speak as loud as you can.
Kim Corcoran, current mayor of the city of Ironwood. I thought I would just open with covering some of my qualifications and reason for running. I've been a resident for 24 years, been on the commission for 6 years, 4 of which I've been mayor. I have knowledge of the projects that we have going on, the processes that it took to get there. I'm aware of the ventures that we have to take to continue moving forward with Ironwood. I know the staff and I know the processes. While serving as mayor, I was appointed to the Michigan Municipal League Board of Trustees. That's a very, very prestigious position. We work at the federal and the state level to assist municipalities in becoming vibrant cities and addressing hot topics that are in front of the House and the Senate, like medical marijuana and the road funding projects. I have a master's degree, and since I've been involved with the city of Ironwood, I've been so inspired to take a look at getting a second master's degree in public administration, and I've taken several courses on economic development. I also hold a job currently with the Michigan Department of Corrections as an educator, and the job that I have has a lot of qualifications as far as managing budgets, working with people that's applicable to running the city, and working with different commissioners. I truly, truly love living in Ironwood. I think we have a lot to offer, and I just love to stay involved and continue doing what I can to try to promote our city. I like to support the workers that we have in our city, and I always like to take the chance to brag about the volunteers. Ironwood has a very big core group of volunteers that make things happen on a regular basis, so I think it's key to support them. I'm very proud of our city. One of the projects that Ms. Birchall had mentioned is the Depot Park. I took the initiative to go down to Detroit in front of one of the conferences and promote the Depot Park, and about 1,200 people, and speak and promote that, and we were offered and won the Community Excellence Award Prize. So just like to say that I'd love to be involved, and I think Ironwood is making a lot of progress, and just like to stay on board.
Steve Frank. A candidate should be judged by his ideas. This is my platform. The city's website will be routinely updated and all documents will be posted on it. All city meetings will be recorded and posted online. There will be an expectation of quality in all city projects. The cheapest way is not always the best way. Eliminate the IPSD and contract with the Sheriff's Department. This saves about $700,000 per year. Reevaluate all administrative positions. Neighboring communities have far fewer administrators. I'm in favor of increasing the number of city workers as long as those positions are justified. Code enforcement will be done fairly and consistently. The city will inventory and rate the condition of all vacant properties and enact a vacant property ordinance. We have far too many properties that are being allowed to rot away, that reduce neighboring property values, and that ultimately become the city's responsibility. All city property needs to be well maintained in order to set an example. The city needs to encourage residents to weed and sweep public sidewalks, mow the grass at a vacant lot, and pick up litter. I believe people are more than willing to do this as long as the city is doing its part in maintaining public property and taking care of the serious blight issues. Neighborhood playgrounds increase property values and make Ironwood more attractive to families. Currently, Norrie, Aurora, Jesseville, and north of the highway lack them. Increase the number of mowers at the cemetery. Re-examine the city's fee schedule, starting with the water department. You don't kick people when they're down, and we need to make Ironwood more attractive to new residents. Declining population is one of Ironwood's biggest problems. Dumping by the city will cease. The messes in the Miners Park, behind the Little League field, and across from the Hiawatha statue are the worst examples that the city is guilty of dumping wherever is expedient. Once again, the cheapest solution is not always the best solution. Is that my time?
Hi, Calder Bofsich, 1221 East Leonard Street. A lifelong resident of the city of Ironwood. I knew the good times when the White Pine Mine was here, because my dad owned the bus business, White Pine Transit, and I drove the miners back and forth to the mine. Economic development should be the city's first priority. Number one, economic development. And another thing is, our city government has to be more transparent with everything. These people that are in these offices have to be responsible for their actions. An example is what happened to the library. When Ironwood Township withdrew from the library, nobody was held accountable for the loss of money, the loss of the penal fines from Ironwood Township. People are going to be held accountable for their actions. And the commission meetings, like Mr. Frank said, the internet system that they have, it works, then it don't. It works, then it don't. It better work. People want to see it. And our city manager needs to be more responsible to the residents. There's people that they say to give him phone calls, he never returns a phone call. He better start returning his phone calls. If we need a phone log for him, we'll do a phone log. He has to return the phone calls and answer the question. The commissioners have to be informed about all the issues of the people. If elected, I will be at the city clerk's office at least one day a week for a few hours a day. My phone number will be available, email address will be available, and I will get down to find out what the problems are. In the long term, make our government more accountable to the residents. Build trust and confidence between the city leaders and the residents. And property taxes are ridiculous in this city. The houses up there by the country club, those new houses, $4,000, $4,500 a year, that's crazy. And our homestead tax is the highest in the Upper Peninsula. That's at 74 mils, and that has to go down. Thank you.
I'm Dave Kinnunen. During my time here, I've spent a lot of time going for walks, meeting people, hearing their problems, and they got to bring them to the commission. I will hear your problems. You will not be turned away. The people of this city, they mean the most. They live here, they work here. And most of all, I will be available 24/7. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bill Martell from Ironwood here. I lived here all my life except up to about 97 when I went to work down in Minneapolis. Other than that, and then I came back and retired about 5 years ago. I have more or less a couple degrees in mathematics, accounting, a strong minor in economics. While at school, I was tutoring in economics, management, math, and marketing. So one thing I'd like to do is make the city commission more responsible to the public. Many people bring complaints there. I believe that they should have a viable solution by the next city commission meeting. Thank you.
Jim Mildren. So I'm part of government right now, the Gogebic County Transit. 35 years there, manager. Those 35 years, we've helped thousands of people in this community and across Gogebic County. And I decided maybe 20 years ago, my wife and I, we have a good job, we love living here, so we're going to work as hard as we can to make this a great community to live in. And I believe that I've done that, and my wife has done that. So in my ability to help this city has really moved forward these last 4 years. Proud of everything that's happened. And so my resume, just I believe that you shouldn't run for anything until you've actually told people what you've done. So my resume would include Luther Elright High School, Gogebic Community College, degree from Northern Michigan University in political science. Some of the other things that I've done while I've managed the Gogebic County Transit: I'm a certified elections clerk. I'm a drug and alcohol counselor. I'm a trainer for people that operate equipment. This morning, I started out, I had a meeting here today. I'm on the MDOT Region 1 Superior Trails Committee. I put myself on there 3 years ago so that whenever requests came for either TAP money through the DNR or MDOT dollars for the city of Ironwood, I would be one of those people that voted yes and helped bring that money here. I'm on Governor Snyder's Regional Collaborative Council, and for 3 years I've promoted this community, all of Gogebic County. Copper Peak Trails, does that mean my time is up? Wow. Okay. How about President of Kiwanis, President, so on and so forth. Thank you all.
Good evening. My name is Philip Reinders. For the past 14 years that I have lived up here, I have seen commissioners come and go, and all of them have wasted our money on failed ideas and failed projects. This is our money that is being used to fund the Good Old Boys Club. The choice is simple. You can continue to elect commissioners that have their own agendas and will not hear you, or the new ones that will sit and listen to your concerns. And the best part about electing me is that I'm a complete outsider. The end.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rick Simo. Some of you may know me. I've been born and raised in this town. Got educated in our school system. Left for a few years, went to the University of Michigan, go blue. Came back to stay, raised my family. We've grown up now. I love living here. I love this area, and I truly care about it. I've demonstrated that by the numerous boards and volunteer activities I've been a part of for the last 35 years. I've been on the City Commission for the past 6 years, and would like to thank the voters of Ironwood for allowing me to serve them. Currently, I serve on the Ironwood Parks and Rec Committee, the Planning Commission, the Ironwood Theater Board, the City Commission, as I mentioned. I'm the Vice President of the Miners Memorial Heritage Park, the Friends of the Park, and there's probably a few more, but they escape me right now. I feel very proud of everything that we have accomplished in the last 6 years. The list is a very long list. I know that everyone just loves the streets that we have now. We'd love to continue that progress. My goal is to continue working to promote pride in our area, make it a place that appeals to people of all ages, especially young people, to improve our infrastructure and our parks. I would love to make it a place that people want to live and start a business. And my goal is to continue the progress that we have started, and I would appreciate your support in that effort. Thank you.
Good evening, Brandon Tower, lifelong Ironwood resident. I've been a police officer in Gillespie County for 13 years, and I've sat on the city commission for the last 4. Ironwood has had a lot of positive change over the last few years. Our infrastructure and roads have gone from some of the worst in the area to some of the best. These construction projects have been trying, of that there is no doubt, but they were sorely needed. We have new parks and playground equipment. The beginning of the Iron Bell non-motorized trail was constructed. We've expanded ORV access for those that like to run with those. City staff are working on business retention programs with our existing businesses. Our US 2 corridor is brand new, and most of this has happened through volunteer efforts, grant funding, and low interest loans. These improvements are more than just window dressing. They help to make Ironwood a more attractive venue for businesses looking to relocate and show that our community is looking towards the future. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Now we'll proceed to our questions. There are 2 questions that have been prepared by the chamber. I'll read the question, repeat the question, and at some time when it's your turn, if you need a question, repeat it, just ask. Again, asking you to try to speak up the best that you can. 1 minute is the response time for each of these 2 questions. The first question: how would you balance the immediate needs of the city of Ironwood against its long-term development goals? Let me repeat that. How would you balance the immediate needs of the city of Ironwood against its long-term development goals? Your response is 1 minute.
I would work with the staff and research other creative solutions and ideas for today's economic issues of managing the business of the city under the strains of continually increasing expenses without the reciprocal proportionate growth in revenue. Long-term community development goals must be reached with leveraging every single budgeted dollar and focusing on improving the city and its livability so we can retain, attract, and grow our tax base. Thank you.
Joe, just before, once again, everybody's asking for you to speak up. If you could, please speak up.
Okay. I think that if we keep following our comprehensive plan and our capital improvement program projected goals, Ironwood will continue to prosper. Money has been set aside for many projects and programs to guide us to our future.
The budget process must provide for safety and well-being of our citizens. A hierarchy needs to be established, and our city has to have sustainability. We need to set aside funds for a lot of things that we are doing. We have a comprehensive plan that we've invested a lot of money in. It's the voice of the people, it's the direction that we need to go to, and it's something that we need to refer to. The commission in the past, as far as goal setting, once we're all elected, we get together and we look at the comprehensive plan, we take a look at the needs of our citizens and figure out what we can accomplish and how we can accomplish it. Sometimes you have to find out if you can fund something over different years. You have to find out if there's grants out there. You have to find out if you can split a project up into smaller chunks to get it funded. But you need to look at those kind of things as far as meeting the needs of our people. As far as setting aside funds, we have infrastructure improvements, and they're always kind of take a little bit out of the side, so we don't have to fund big projects and big equipment in the end. So I know my time's up, so.
The distinction isn't between long and short-term goals, but between large projects, small projects, and routine tasks. Large projects are going to be grant or loan funded, so we need to make sure that we have enough flexibility in our budget to take advantage of them. Currently, the city won't undertake even small projects unless they can get a grant. This means that many important projects, like neighborhood playgrounds, are never done, or others, like blight remediation, are only attacked haphazardly. But where we really fail is in day-to-day tasks like plowing, snow removal, and general maintenance of public property, like parks and sidewalks. My plan to save $700,000 annually allows us to reinvest in our community and make Ironwood more attractive to business, tourism, and new residents.
I'm gonna stress again, economic development. Our first goal should be not economic development. The City of Ironwood Commission goal setting for fiscal year 2015-16, this present commission, economic development effort is number 10. We need to get our buildings filled. In downtown, we need to get our buildings filled on the highway. We need to get our industrial buildings filled in the industrial park. They got a spec building over there. It's been there for 13 years, 14 years, and there's nothing in it. They use it for storage. And that's it. And the direction of the Community Development Director, Michael Brown, should be economic development. He should do that's his first goal. And Michael Brown is smart enough and he's good enough to get businesses in this area. Thank you.
We need, excuse me, we need to make economic growth the #1 priority in this town. The comprehensive plan we got is good. We can make it better. And we can work on it in the new commission. Thank you.
I'd like to see a matching fund, like say the majority of projects in Ironwood are the parks. So say the matching part of a project is $50,000 on our part. I'd like to see about 10% or 20% of the money set aside for a capital investment fund. As for my training, I worked at Unisource and then I went to work at Volunteers of America, Minnesota as an accountant. Thank you.
Well, once again, I'm a big cheerleader for the city of Ironwood. I love the fact that they've progressed in these last 5 or 6 years. They've put all of the streets on a Pazer system so that when they went to with the street improvement projects, they knew which ones needed it the most, which ones didn't need it, and they had a comprehensive list. The same thing goes with their lists of inventory and useful lives of equipment, so they know 10 years on a heavy-duty dump truck or 15 years on that. So everything in that area has gone exceptionally well, I think. And the other thing that you have to know in government is that you have to have some money set aside to be responsive. In the last couple of years, it's been trails, or if they switch from that to economic development, then you have to have the money available to put money in and build the city through that. Thank you.
Our first goal should be retention. Without retention, we will continue to endure a shrinking population base. To achieve this goal, we need to take drastic measures in shrinking our city government. With the money saved, we can set that money aside and combine it with grant money in order to achieve our capital project plans. It's a very simple formula. It's too top heavy. We've been wasting money for years. We have a city manager that's also an engineer, but we go and pay Coleman Engineering. That makes no sense. Thousands and thousands of dollars have poured into Coleman Engineering while we pay our staff member, who's also an engineer. Thank you.
It is a constant effort to keep a balance between short-term and long-term needs. We've made a lot of progress, especially in addressing our most critical needs of streets and sewer and water, but there's still a lot to be done. Long-range planning is critical to success. Projects are always in planning. The city has a long list of projects in their capital improvement program, capital improvement plan, and the city commission reviews these with the city staff during budgeting and decides which, if any, we actually have money to do. The city has been extremely capable and creative in finding new funding sources. A lot of the things we've done, the trails, the parks, phase 1 and 2 of the Jesseville project, all of these projects were done with creative funding. So long-term planning is important, and and we will continue to have long-term planning as we have in the past.
Ironwood's long-term plan is always to attract more businesses, economic development, which relates back to the short-term needs, which are city infrastructure and quality of life improvements. Ironwood has done a lot in the recent past to improve that. Long and short-term goals are the goals are related directly to each other. The city does try to set aside some fund balance every year towards projects. An example of that is the West Air Street sewer project, which was done last year. That was used with fund balance, no loans, no grants, no utility rate increases. So there is some planning that we always do every year for those things. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. So again, just asking you to try and speak up if you can, so that everybody in the room can hear your answers. Our second question is, what elements of your personal background or work experience do you think will help you the most in working together with the other elected commissioners? I'll repeat that again. What elements of your personal background or work experience do you think will help you the most in working together with the other elected commissioners? Again, a 1-minute response, please.
I believe I would be an effective commissioner by my proven ability to work hard and communicate effectively and respectfully with people to solve problems and achieve goals. I have a history of successful business rooted in the principles of quality and friendly service. I meet people from all over the world. In our community, I have spent, as I said before, more than 20 years working with many, many people on many volunteer and diverse boards to solve problems and make organizations stronger. I believe that success is reached when we allow each other to work to our strengths, listen to each other respectfully, and work toward positively to tackle challenging problems to create positive, innovative, and productive solutions. Thank you.
I think of myself as a team player. Over the years, I've had to work with people that were challenging to work with. We got the job done, and I think we're able to get it done right. That's what's important.
The key to working with others successfully is communication. I've served on multiple boards for the City of Ironwood. My job with the Department of Corrections requires a lot of written and verbal communication, working with multi-million-dollar budgets, dealing with diverse staff members, working with unions, following state and federal guidelines, and providing essential programming. All of these skills are transferable to being a commissioner, and the experiences have taught me a lot. They have taught me that it's essential to keep others informed. Cooperating and collaborating with others gets you further than working alone. Teamwork is essential. We need to value and respect the opinions of others, whether or not we're on the same page or voting in the same direction. It's always important to listen, give credit, respect others, but most of all, explore our options and try to provide a win-win situation to the greater good of those who are going to be affected by your decision.
I'm intelligent, creative, and willing to ask questions. And I'm willing to keep asking those questions until I get answers and not excuses. Every day I tutor physics, calculus, and chemistry, which means that every day, not only do I have to solve problems, but I also have to explain those solutions to others. The real question, however, is will any incumbents be willing to work with me? From what I've seen at commission meetings, they are not open to new ideas, nor are they interested in effectively communicating with the public. The city's website is rarely updated. Most documents contain errors, and on the rare occasions that the city manages to upload video of commission meetings, the quality is so poor as to be useless. In short, will the other commissioners commit to being the leaders that Ironwood desperately needs?
I've been attending the commission meetings now for about the last 3 years. And what I would like to do if elected, is sit down with just the commissioners, and have a plan that you, the residents and the taxpayers, the issues, and work on these issues. And the issues of the residents must be addressed, and the items that they want to be put on the agenda should be put on the agenda. Because I did have I had 2 different items I wanted to put on the agenda. They were not put on the agenda. I will tell you what them are later. Thank you.
I think the key to working with other commissioners is you listen to what they say, you respect it, and you communicate to other commissioners, and then we vote on it, and that's when everybody is heard from. Thank you.
While at my work at Volunteers of America, there were approximately 600 employees controlled by our management staff of about 20 people, of which I was included. We dealt with social services, Meal on Wheels, housing, private schools, among other options. So that is where I learned my management skills on interaction with others. Thank you.
So, I've worked extremely hard in our community. Roxanna's headquarters here. This is our 10th year. Hope all of you are going to help us in our toy collection. I'm on the Governor's Prosperity Council. One of the things that I've done in my 35 years of management is I work with our Governor's office on a weekly basis over the last 20 years. I work with Representative DeAnda, he's a good friend of mine, with Senator Tom Casperson, Debbie Stabenow, our senator in Washington is a good friend of mine. I work with those people. I know how to get things done, and I can guarantee you that I will be an asset to the city of Ironwood, and I will take your ideas and the things you need out into Michigan and out into this country, and I can do that. Thank you.
I feel I have great listening skills as well as the communication skills, with an eye for detail and compassionate enough to listen, aggressive enough to fight for all and not just by the few. I am open-minded and very opinionated, and I promise that the citizens will be heard.
I have worked well with the city commission, my co-commissioners, and city staff for the past 6 years. I participated in numerous other types of activities in my city commission capacity. I've participated in hiring interviews along with city staff, union contract negotiations, and many other things. I'm open-minded. I want to know all sides of issues before I make my decisions. Respect and communication are the key to success, and I feel that I have adequate amounts of all of those. So that's pretty much what I have to say.
I've been a police officer for 13 years in this county. I deal with people daily with a multitude of issues and problems. I try to treat everybody fairly and with respect. I have no axes to grind. I have no hidden agendas. I have one goal, and that's to see Ironwood succeed and prosper. And assuming that every other candidate has the same goal as me, we will get along just well. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Those are the 2 questions as prepared by the chamber for you. We have also gotten some questions that have come in this evening. They've looked at the questions and tried to draw those together. We're going to have time for at least 3 questions, would you say? All right, so we're going to take a 5-minute break. Everybody stand, stretch their legs, and take a breath. We'll come back in 5 minutes and we'll begin the audience questions or the questions that have been provided.
I didn't want
I never thought of that when I saw it.
Yeah, you can tell him's really.
Yeah, I have the water, man.
Yeah. Who had water? Anyway, nice to see you again. Nice to meet you. Yeah, all of you. There's a future politician.
Just sleep through everything. So that's the best.
I'm already saying yes to the request before it comes in.
This is
There's no one else in Civic County, Michael Brown, myself, and Jim Lawrence that are doing that on a monthly basis. There's people out there. One of the things there used to be,
This is 40 minutes.
20 or 30 of us, 20 years, that work continuously getting state and federal government to work. Now, that list has gone down, maybe and it's a shame. I go to the meetings and I say, I say the same thing. So Civic County needs money. We need money for trails, we need money for how we raise the money ourselves too. And then they say, right, aren't you honest, $1,000 for Bridge of the Gap, about $2,000 for Depot Park, $1,000 for Northern Park, you know, nothing happened. Not to have volunteers. Said, now we're going to hear from Mayor about all the great things that are going on. And it was Paul Anderson. And people in other communities are saying, look at that. And then because the mayors, city managers, I get a perspective from them. Aren't city managers. Everybody all across there's been feelers getting into it and be safe. It's pretty cool. It is. You need skilled people. We have them. We have them. The wages are half the If you can weigh bricks and you're 22 years old, you can go to your office and make 65, 70,000 a year as an apprentice. What we pay is small compared to the rest of the world, and we're lucky we have it.
All right, we're ready for part two. And I will ask also our candidates if they can assume the best basketball screaming voice they can. So that people out here, I know it may sound funny up here, but we can't hear you if you talk politely. So you've got to kind of open up a little bit so the folks can hear, okay? Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we have 3 questions that we're going to present to each of the candidates. Again, you will have 1 minute for your response to the question. I will repeat the question if you wish. Joan will keep the time as we've done. And the first question is, the population of Ironwood is declining and aging. This places a burden on residents with fixed incomes. Specifically, what do you plan to do to reduce the cost of government? Let me repeat that question. The population of Ironwood is declining and aging. This places a burden on residents with fixed incomes. Specifically, what do you plan to do to reduce the cost of government? Again, your response, 1 minute. And we ask you to speak up as loudly as you can. Begin.
Well, there's 2 sides to the problem. First of all, as a new person, I would have to do a lot of study. But I'm a fast learner, and I love to learn. So I would have to, we would work together to study the different aspects of running the city government, obviously, and look at reasonable alternatives and ways to become more efficient. Because as things evolve, as technology progresses, as other things happen, sometimes money-saving and time-saving solutions evolve. So you have to always be open to looking at alternative ways of doing things. Sometimes doing things the same way isn't always the most efficient. And of course, I would work real hard to address the cause of the problem, declining population and aging, and work to make our community a better place to bring people here to spread the cost out. Thank you.
I try to continue to keep the water, sewer, and garbage rates the lowest that we can without increases, and try to lower other taxes or fees. Make it easier for people.
Okay. Reduce the cost of government. Well, Ironwood has always, since I've been involved, and further I would imagine, has operated under a balanced budget. We have done a lot with the budget that we have. When you talk about cutting government, I don't think that we could cut crews anymore. Right now, I know our DPW is in half, and I know public safety are low numbers, and even the staff up at the building are doing more with less. And once you get involved, you learn that these people do have a lot on their plate and do a lot. So to cut kind of costs to our citizens, we take a look at maybe creative funding, breaking up some of our bigger projects projects, so it's not such a burden. Maybe we could delay projects until other payments fall off. And maybe we could even explore sharing services with other municipalities, just to name a few items within a minute.
Well, according to the city's own organizational chart on the website, we've got 15 workers and 12 administrators. It's not counting public safety. Bessemer and Ironwood Township, their populations are a bit smaller, but in the scheme of things, it's virtually the same size. They make do with substantially smaller administrative forces. That's the first thing. What we really need to do is turn that population around. We have to stop assuming that it's always going to go down. And we really need to look at certain things like the fees. There's a $500 water deposit fee right now for renters just to get the water turned on. That's not bringing people to our town. It's not making it inviting. If you get your water shut off, it's a $300 reconnect fee. That's kicking people when they're down. And this all has a ripple effect. For every family that doesn't move to Ironwood, that moves to Bessemer or Wakefield, that's also money lost from our school system. All of this is connected. We need to start pulling together, working with the other groups in this community to change that population flying around.
There's no doubt about it, we have to live within our means. We have to get after our senators and our reps for economic development in our logging and mining industry. We need to go mining, and we need to do more logging. Currently, there are 10 people working in the memorial building, and that is too many. We have to look to see what everybody does. And Hurley, Bessemer, Wakefield, and we got friends over there in Newberry, Michigan. They were just stopped. How many people in Newberry? Well, I think they had said they had 5 people in their city offices. There's too many people that have city offices, 10. And I mean, we cut in our street department. We got rid of our fire department years back, 30 years ago? Now it's the volunteer, it's public safety. And our memorial building is just too heavy with people. We have to do something in there. Retirement, don't replace them. That's about all I can say. Thank you.
I would study the problem first, find out just what the elderly have to pay, and just work with them on getting them some kind of tax break. Thank you.
I'd like to discuss like the ATV and snowmobile ordinance. At both times on those ordinances, I suggested a fee for sound testing of these vehicles by public safety. The city council opposed it. The next is this truck project, the truck routes. I proposed at that time that for these special permits, there should be a fee, again, ignored by the city commission. Now, I'd love to see some other plans to raise money, like the city assessor. I would like to see that share the cost with Wakefield, Bessemer, and possibly Hurley. Thank you.
Well, on the millage rate itself, I applaud what the city of Ironwood did when they didn't propose that the streets be fixed and that millage money put on the ballot until they had finished with the memorial building payment. So I would always say, first of all, to hold the millage rate right where it is. I think that we can live with that. The other thing is that I propose that we all have to get behind big projects. My friends in Unison, for example, this summer had 930,000 people visit there to go out to the Pictured Rocks. Now, I've been working with the folks out at Copper Peak, and we're proposing that summer ski jump take place in 2017. I would think in the months of August, September, and October, we could have more than 100,000 people visit our area, and those people will invest in new businesses and help our economy, and we will all prosper because of it. Thank you.
I agree with some of the other candidates up here. Let's be serious and be realistic. We do have an aging population and we do have a deleting population. We need to find ways to retain what we do have and find ways to go and lure the new ones back here and have them stay over here. We can't constantly have a huge government. It's excessively too high. I look at that property tax bill and I see how much I have to go and contribute to their pension plan. It's exceedingly high. I see about how much we have spent with public safety. Why can't we not have the county go and do it? Look at the money that we would save from this. Use our city manager that's the engineer to be an actual engineer instead of paying Coleman Engineering. Look at the thousands. I mean, we're talking our money being thrown right out the door and given away.
Well, I think that people are not perceiving that we actually have significantly reduced the cost of government already. Our revenue sharing has declined significantly since I first came in. I would say that our general fund budget is probably smaller than it was when I came in, and yet we're able to achieve more than we have for many years. I don't see that we're able to reduce costs, but we can stretch our revenues. We have purchased new equipment that reduces manpower needs. We are doing as much as we can to share services with other communities, and pretty much we're getting a lot out of your tax dollar. The city only gets 26 cents out of every dollar you pay, by the way. The rest of it goes to the county and so on and so forth, the college. I would encourage people to attend our budget sessions. You will see that there is not a whole lot left to play with.
It's important to understand that Ironwood has always balanced their budget. Every staff member, if we cut them, is doing a job now. They've already been reduced in numbers over the years. To ask them to do, we're always asking them to do less or more with less. We've done that. If you reduce them any further, you're possibly looking at a reduction in city services. We are already sharing certain programs, law enforcement wise, for an example. We share our drug team and our SWAT team with Iron County, Wisconsin, and the county. There's always, we can always look into more of that, more of sharing services, and I would encourage us to do that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, candidates. The next question: how can we make the blight enforcement process faster and more fair for all of the residents? I'll repeat that. How can we make the blight enforcement process faster and more fair for all the residents? And your response, 1 minute.
Well, I have to admit that I don't know the blight ordinance in detail, but we would study that blight policy, define it, it probably has been, and just really study it, and then have a consistent plan and process for effectively managing it, just making it easier, education, letting our citizens know what our expectations and standards are through the definition of that, have some community input, and then enforce it effectively.
We have already shortened the blight procedure and the way we go after people for blight. It used to be a lot lengthier process. I think we've done a fair job trying to clean up the city.
Currently, the city of Ironwood, I believe, has cleaned up 80 to 100 blighted properties. And when a blighted property is next to you, it seems like you can never get rid of it fast enough. But there is a process, and the ordinance is in detail. You know, we go in and we have the public safety staff and we have our blight staff work with people. We start with a warning and we start with fines, and we have a process for repeat offenders. So there is a process in place. It is working. We've gotten rid of at least 80 to 100 different properties. And it's, like I said, it just may not seem fast enough for some people, especially when it's next to yours. But it is defined in the ordinance, and we are working as our ordinance dictates, and I think we are doing a fine job.
Okay, step one, the blight officer needs to go out actually looking for the blight. You don't wait until you tick off one of your neighbors and they call up and complain. All that does is set neighbor against neighbor. What we really need to do, though, is make a distinction between blight and nuisances. Blight are those big issues, collapsing houses, things like that, the costly things. It should be a little bit time-consuming, and it should have city commission approval before we go in and deal with that. But nuisances, piles of garbage in your yard, furniture, things like that, you send out one notice, you give them 7 days to clean it up, the city goes in, cleans it up, adds it to the tax bill. Those are small cost things, maybe $200-300 that it costs. You should be recouping most of that. And it's affordable for most people if they have to end up paying that. Okay? First and foremost, though, the city really needs to start setting an example. Go around and look at the city property. Look at the city garage. It's a mess. Before I run out of time, what's really important, though, is we don't just single out people. We need to enforce the standard equally, but we also need to have something in place to help people. Part of that savings that I've suggested, I would like to see go to a city social worker that would work with people on this.
Steve said a lot of things I agree with. Our blight officer needs to, like I said, ride around, knock on people's doors. Hey, how can we help you with this? Let's clean this up. You got a certain amount of time. If it ain't done, the city crews over there, bam, get it out of here. The businesses that are doing it, I mean, I don't know how we can see this, but there's been a place in Aurora and Norrie location, a mill there. It's been there for 30 years. What has been done with that? Nothing. I think we need to do something with that place too. Thank you.
I think the key to this blight business is you gotta go and identify where the worst ones are first. And then, as Mayor points out, there's an ordinance. We will take a process, we'll go through the process, and we'll get it as soon as humanly possible. Thank you.
Besides the blight officer and the public safety department, I believe a lot of the smaller nuisances should be handled by personal conversations with each other. I know down by Patterson Tennis Court, there's been a sofa and a refrigerator out there for I'd say about 3 weeks now. They put the sofa against the refrigerator. You know, it might be just as easy just to go in there and put a couple screws in there to secure the door. This is an ordinance that abandoned refrigerator is not supposed to be there. Thank you.
No, I'm exceedingly proud of Ironwood's blight enforcement and the removal of houses that are too dilapidated and the grant monies that they brought in for that. But what really makes me excited, with the new streets, you ride around Ironwood and things are looking good again. You know, back in the 50s or 60s, you didn't need blight enforcement because people made sure that their neighbor took care of things, and if you didn't take care of things, you were castigated. I'll tell you that. So now we have like our garbage collection. We have these garbage cans that look good, and they fit the garbage. So you look down our street in the morning, and there's rows of orderly garbage cans, nice colors, and things have changed so much for the better. So I think that progress feeds on progress. And the streets look better, the garbage cans are nicer, people are doing a great job. Thank you.
Code enforcement needs to be equally enforced to everybody, not just to certain ones, but to everybody, including blight. I've seen places that have been run down for years. The city knows about it, they've known about it for years, and they chose to do absolutely nothing. They go out there in person, they see it face to face, they take pictures, I'm sure. I'm sure those pictures have been posted online as well. I've seen them, but yet nobody addresses it. They ignore it because it's all about who you know here. That's all I have to say.
very proud of the job we've done tackling blight. Obviously, there's a lot left to do. We've been able to remove 80 to 100 houses in the last 6 years. We've tightened up our ordinances so that the timeframes are shorter, going between the various phases of getting a notice, second notice, and coming to the city commission. We have, in fact, we have cleaned up people's yards and billed them for the cleanup. I'm not so sure how much that used to happen, but it happens now. Not sure how we're not being fair. Who's ever asked this question, tell me about it later. I'd like to hear more. There's two kinds of blight, active blight and passive blight. Active blight is people filling their yards with garbage, with junk. I have no patience for that. And I think we should deal with that as directly and as quickly as we can. Passive blight is when your house is kind of falling down and you just don't have the money to fix it. Obviously, you have to be a little more lenient here. We're a poor community, and we have to give people a little bit of room. I think we're doing a fine job.
I can't really say much better than Rick. We've done a lot with blight over the last 4 years. We've cleaned up a lot of houses. We've tweaked our ordinance to try and make it faster. I don't know how much faster we can make it. There's a process that we have to follow. People have a right to due process. When they come before the commission, we try to be fair and lenient. We usually will give them another opportunity to clean up their house or their property. They usually comply when we do that. We try to be fair with the blight as much as we can. I suppose there's always room for improvement, and the next commission will, I'm sure blight will be another priority, and we'll discuss it again. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates.
Chuck, could I make a suggestion? To be fair to the people at that end of the table, could you start over here so that... Not that I want to go sooner, believe me.
But this is the last question.
But yeah, and at least give the first person a few minutes to compose their thought.
That would be fine. All right, our third question then is, how can we make Ironwood more desirable a place to live? How can we make Ironwood a more desirable place to live?
It's a good question. I think we've done a lot. Our roads, our infrastructure are huge. We've gone to about 90% good roads from about 20% a few years ago. We have had park improvements. We could do more in the neighborhood park area, I believe. We have the new walking trail. That's huge for people. These are all things that when you're passing through a town, people consider when they decide they want to move there or not. And I think we're moving in the right direction. Thank you.
I guess I just would like to ask the audience the question, is Ironwood a more desirable place to live than it was 5 or 10 years ago? And I think it's clearly yes. We're doing the right things. We're working on the infrastructure improvements we need to make. Those are obvious, but we're also working on the quality of life issues that make up a community place that you want to live in. And you can do one or the other, but if you don't do both, you're just not going to get the job done. Parks, trails, sidewalks, safe routes to school, the list is endless, and I think we've made a lot of progress on it, and we just need to keep on going the way that we have been going. Thank you.
To make this town more desirable is that you need to have, we live in a town with rules. We need to make them fair for everybody. We need to make the rates lower on our water bill. I was told a couple of years ago by the gentleman that runs the water department that in order for them to get grant money, they had to go and raise the water rate. I don't understand it. We're surrounded by water. People that come here that have lived in other parts of the country are flabbergasted at the rates. They've seen their rates triple, quadruple compared to where they used to live at. You gotta lure the people in. You wanna make it look nice. You want it to be good looking. And you wanna be fair with everybody. I'm done. Thank you.
Well, I just say that in my career, this year, 5 or 6 years ago, president of Kiwanis both times, And we work hard to help the children in this area, raise and provide funding for programs, about $12,000 to help kids in our area. 10 years this year will be Santa's headquarters. I'm on the leadership team of that. A lot of the children in our community didn't feel valued in the surveys that were taken 10 years ago. Now they do. The city of Ironwood, I love the city of Ironwood. My parents have had businesses here, my grandparents. So I'm going to support the business community in this town. I'm going to support seniors. I'm going to do the things I've always done, contribute buses to like the Memorial Parade, the Vietnam Veterans Wall. Keep on the committees that I'm on, trying to bring programs and money here, so thank you.
I believe what we need in this area is more activities for the youth. You know, like, I know a person that moved from here up to Houghton just because there's more activities, you know. I'm sure a lot of younger people still go to the Duluth for, you know, concerts and ongoing and stuff like that. But the biggest thing is the wages around the area. There's only 3 good paying jobs in here. Government, the hospital, and education. Thank you.
I agree with my fellow candidates that a lot of work has been accomplished. But it goes beyond making parks and putting flowers in. And you just gotta work at the problem, find out what they want, and I rely on the people to let me know what they want. Thank you.
How can we make Iron more desirable? Because we got a lot of shady characters around here. Illegal drug trade has gone crazy. Heroin, meth. I approached the city commission twice, I repeat twice, to put on the agenda. And they refused to put this on the agenda. Write a letter to the court system in Gogebic County, Michigan, Iron County, Wisconsin, that we are disgusted with the plea bargains of these drug sentences. It's disgusting. There's a business owner over there in Hurley, a convicted drug dealer, and he said he's still able to run a business in Hurley. We don't need garbage like that around here. We have to do something with this illegal drug trade. People are scared. I mean, when's it gonna take, no more plea bargains. And the other thing is economic development. I mean, it's getting worse and worse. I volunteer at St. Vincent de Paul Food Pantry, been on it for about 3 years. 250 families with Ironwood addresses. Now we're at 450. Economic development. Thank you.
I have to admit, I'm a little surprised that jobs hasn't been one of the questions so far. And then Paul for mentioning that. And I'm going to be honest, I don't have a background in business. And no candidate can be everything to everyone. I expect, however, that our city manager, our community development director, and our economic development corporation will do their jobs. I also expect the DIDA to do its job, which includes marketing the downtown. If you're not online in this day and age, you're not effectively marketing anything. And I expect our city to look as good as possible. And this includes clean, litter-free neighborhoods, well-maintained parks and playgrounds, and quality city projects. All of these make Ironwood more attractive to new businesses.
Having Ironwood be a desirable place to live. We've had roads improved, infrastructure improved, we have parks, we have our safe routes to schools, sidewalks, we've had equipment upgrades, we've addressed blight, and most importantly, what you have to do to create a desirable city is get behind your city, promote your city, love your city. All of these things are economic development. It's a process of creating a place people want to be. It draws your entrepreneurs and it draws your knowledge-based workers. So I believe that we are taking steps to make Ironwood a desirable place to live.
We need to keep trying to fix our roads, keep improving our parks and trails, and try to lure new jobs and businesses to our town, Ironwood?
I believe that Ironwood is already a desirable place to live. My kids have left the area, and I know that most of them, well, my 2 kids, would love to come back if they could find a job. We have a great community. We have an abundance of affordable housing for people wanting to own their own homes. We have a low cost of living. We have amazing assets. McGivick Community College, a great hospital system, a great airport, and other wonderful things. I'm proud of our city that we voted to support through a millage the ice arena, the Pat O'Donnell Civic Center. We are a community that comes together to support what's important for our community and our youth. We have a historic downtown, and we need to work towards making that downtown even stronger, and that ball has started rolling. And we need to continue developing more trails so that we make this a better community to bring people here. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. At this time, I'm going to offer the opportunity for each one of you to make a closing statement. The closing statement will be 2 minutes in length. And go that way, this way.
I'll start off.
All right.
I'll keep it short.
2 minutes, closing statement.
I want to thank everybody for coming tonight and my fellow candidates. We're not always going to agree on everything, but I think I would have no problem working with any of you. Community involvement, like I'm seeing here tonight, is key to Ironwood and its success. We have a lot of volunteerism that have made this city something to be proud of, I think. We've made substantial improvements over the last few years, but we still have work to do. Blight enforcement, we need to plan for road maintenance now that we have nice roads, and we need to continue to improve our infrastructure in order to keep this town moving forward. And I just want to thank everybody for their consideration at the polls. Thank you.
Well, somehow I missed that part of the forum where I was supposed to have a closing statement, so this is totally winging it. Sorry about that. Appreciate, as Brandon said, I appreciate you all coming. This is something new for me. In my other 3 terms, we didn't have a forum. I think it's an excellent opportunity for us to present ourselves to you, for you to hear us. I'd appreciate hearing back from you on your thoughts on what you heard tonight. I always appreciate hearing from people. When I first got on, I thought my phone was going to be ringing off the hook. It doesn't. So thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. We have a lot to do. We've done a lot, but we still have a huge number of projects. We have a water line that we have to run out to our well fields. We have well field improvements. We've only begun on our blight. Our neighborhood playgrounds, as has been brought up here, a huge issue that we really need to focus a lot more on. We need to be in an area that appeals to people with kids. And that is probably the next step that I think that I personally would like to put my energy into, is that particular part of the city business. Wouldn't overlook any other parts, but we definitely need to appeal to families. So thank you very much.
I wish to thank GCC, the Chamber of Commerce, Charter Cable, for allowing us to be here. I appreciate you people all being here. I would appreciate your vote, and I will do my darndest to work my hardest for you. And you can call me anytime, just like I'll be calling SEMO tonight.
Shouldn't have said that.
Thank you.
Nice to see all of you. Extremely exciting for me. Love this city. I'll make great decisions on good directions to go. I'll make decisions that'll be good for students, children, seniors, the business community. I've been a big part of downtown Ironwood for 35 years, and I'll continue to do that. And just wish us all luck and success in the future. Thank you.
I appreciate all you people coming here. Now, most of my time since eBay started, I've run an eBay system. I have a eBay rating of about 17,000. Wow. When I was down in Minneapolis, I sold basically video games and DVDs for foreign language. And sometimes down there, I was selling 60 items a day, 7 days a week. You gotta consider bringing in the internet. Bring the money in from outside the area to here. I'm also an affiliate on Amazon and sell on Amazon. Now, affiliate for Amazon is basically, if somebody's selling a camera on Amazon, I take that and put it over there on eBay. If that camera sells on eBay, this guy gives me a commission. I'm on Amazon and 17 other companies for that. You gotta bring the money from outside the area here. Thank you.
I too thank you all for coming tonight. And I just want to say, before you pull that lever next week, consider the government you have, the government you don't have, and the government you can have. Thank you all again.
First of all, it's phenomenal seeing everybody here. A lot of friends I haven't seen for a long time, a lot of new people. It's great. Just thanks to everybody, especially to Michael Meyer, to the Chamber, for organizing this and the time and hours that he had to put into this. But one of the issues that should be addressed is the problems with all this construction going on. People are going to have problems, and these problems should be addressed. I asked the city commission twice to put on the agenda that the people calling them problems to Scott Erickson, and that's as far as they went. Scott should have told the commission what the problem was that the person had, how was the problem handled, and the person that had the problem, are they satisfied? I asked the commission twice to put that on the agenda. They would not put it on the agenda. They didn't even know for about 6 months that Keith Crandall had raw sewage in his basement. There was a mistake made there. Mistakes are going to be made. People are human. And we have to do something with these illegal drugs. No more plea bargains. No more plea bargains. And blight, how do you get rid of this blight? People are poor. Good jobs. Economic development. Get these buildings filled. In that industrial park, that Cohoda Spioli building is empty. That Spec building is empty. All these buildings on the highway are empty. Downtown is empty. We need economic development. Fill these buildings, people are gonna have money in their back pocket, and they're gonna be able to take care of their houses. They're gonna be able to clean up their yards. And some of these houses, I mean, they're ridiculous with the stuff that they have in. And our blight officer has to get off his butt, start knocking on doors. And if he has a problem there, he wants me to come over there with him. If I'm elected, I will go over there and give him a hand. Thank you.
I know that my idea to eliminate the IPSD, that scares a lot of people. So before you pass judgment, I want you to think about Bessemer. Have you ever heard that anybody in Bessemer is afraid to leave their house? Bessemer spends $93,000 a year to contract with the Sheriff's Department. Ironwood spends just under $1 million a year. My plan would triple what Bessemer's paying, triple the coverage that Bessemer has, and still save us $700,000 that could be reinvested into our community. What all this comes down to is that Ironwood needs leaders. Leaders display vision. Leaders demand excellence. Leaders decide based on evidence and not personal agenda. Next Tuesday, vote for a leader. Vote for Steve Frank.
Being an effective city commissioner should not be taken lightly. It takes time to learn the history of the decisions we've made and the projects we've tackled. It takes time to learn what we need for our future. We have the comprehensive plan. It takes time to learn the processes to make our goals achievable and see them come to fruition. It takes time to learn the staff and what their jobs are. As a commissioner, more of the important things that we can do are listen to citizens, and we are accessible. Rick had mentioned to give them a call. If you look on our website, each one of the commissioners has a phone number or an email out there. And it's important to be a spokesperson for our city and function as a team. You know, if we're painting ourselves in a negative light, people aren't going to want to be here. So it's important that we take pride in what we do, follow our plan, learn what we need to do, how we need to get there. I asked the citizens to look back over the last couple of years and see what has been accomplished. We have new roads, infrastructure, sidewalks, equipment, and blight have been taken care of. These are forms of economic development. These are all the little things that add together that bring people to Ironwood. So when it comes time to vote, I would say take a look at the candidates that you have here. Take a look at who is willing to work well together and who has the best interest of Ironwood. We want to keep our progress moving, and take a look when you vote, you know, the progress that we've made and where we can go and who can take you there. Thank you, and thanks for everybody for being here and charter and putting on the whole program.
Thank you everyone for coming this evening. If the citizens of Ironwood re-elect me, I will continue to vote in their best interest, trying to save them as much as I can by keeping their fees down. I am a firm believer that our city can move forward without having to raise rates and taxes. I have lived all of my life in this city, and I call Ironwood home. Thank you.
Thank you all for this opportunity to speak to you. In my business, I own a little motel, mom and pop motel on the highway. As I mentioned before, I get to meet people from all over. And every summer during Festival Ironwood and during the 4th of July, when people come back home for class reunions or family reunions, this is the first year where I heard people say, Ironwood's looking pretty good. In the past, I always heard over and over again of how Ironwood just kept looking worse and worse and worse. And this year, many people said that Ironwood looked pretty good. And some even said that it looked like we had it together. We looked a little more progressive than cities like Calumet or other cities throughout Michigan. And so I thank all the volunteers in our community, and I thank our city commission and the leadership for driving those big changes that at least visibly certainly make our community much better. I think we need to recognize what our assets are, as I said before. We have to recognize our strengths. We're competing with communities across this country for jobs, right? Everybody wants to attract businesses, of course they do. But why would they want to come to Ironwood? So you have to recognize what our asset is. It's a great place to raise families. And I know some of you might not want to hear this, but snow is an asset. We are the 10th snowiest city in the United States, as rated by the Weather Channel a couple of years ago. And like it or not, we should positively, which I do, embrace snow. We are a 4-season recreation mecca. In a matter of minutes, we can hop, skip, and jump and be in the woods and have fun. So embrace our assets and make this the strong community. And then now with the world of internet, and somebody mentioned before, opportunity for wonderful new businesses that can happen anywhere. We already have a great place to live. Let's make it better.
Thank you, candidates. Thank you. As I understand it, tonight will be rebroadcast by charter on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock on channel 185. So even if you don't have a TV like me, you might, of course, I heard it live. But if you have a friend who hasn't heard it live and who would like to share your experience, why don't you tell them that's when it's happening. Thank you once again for coming. I think it's really great to have 11 folks doing this. And I think it was even more important that forums like this, where everybody has a chance to say something without yelling, and